Lovely looking fish this, absolutely beautiful colours on it. I just can't believe how gorgeous it looks. What an absolute beast. This is a new PB common for me. Hey up mate, how you doing? What do you think of that? Good. You want to give him a kiss? No. I'll do it then. Mwah! So, hello and welcome to another video. And it's a familiar sight if you're looking over my shoulder now. Yes, I'm on Bluebell, I'm on Swan, and I'm back in that corner. We had a good session here before I went on holiday, but we're back from the holidays now. We've had a 3-week period, and Dave's been out a couple of times since I last been here as well, so that's pretty promising. News at the moment, it's fishing rather tricky. We've had some hot temperatures over the last couple of days, and today it's going to get really hot, but tomorrow we're going to see a change in the weather, and we're going to get a nice southwesterly blowing across, which is going to push over into that far corner. And I've mentioned this a few times before, they always follow the wind in here, so I'm quite confident that a few fish will drift into this corner. It has been seen a turnover of anglers in here, and nobody has really had anything from what I can gather anyway. So we're up against it, but I know the spots, I feel confident. Let's see if we can make something happen. Paul.
I don't want to break it.
Don't worry about it. Make sure you don't touch them rod.
Is it bigger?
Yeah, it's a good one. £30 Well, this swim just keeps on giving for me. It hasn't taken long again. 6 hours it's took me to get this one. It's come from the far margin against that tree. The one that I had a rod on there last time, and it's that one that's gone first again. Lovely looking fish this, absolutely beautiful colours on it. I just can't believe how gorgeous it looks. Underneath it's like gill flank and its belly it's like orangey coloured. Absolutely beautiful. I'll try and get him up for you. And there he is, look. What a cracker. £34 6 ounces just gone. And to make things even more special, it's the last session of the summer holiday, so I've got my son Rylan with me. Hey up mate, how you doing? What do you think of that?
Good.
Good. You want to give him a kiss?
No.
I'll do it then. Mwah! I don't know how well you can see the colours on him, but he is absolutely beautiful. He really is. What a peach. Let's hope that's the first of many. You never know. We can only keep trying. Well, it's only been about an hour since I slipped that fish back and conditions have changed dramatically. Thunderstorm above us at the moment. We haven't had any rain yet, but it's brought with it a good southwesterly wind. And since it's pushed in, I've started to see the odd fish roll. In fact, over my left hand rod, I've got one in the left hand margin. I've seen two shows on that now. So that is a promising sign. And I've just had a line on the right hand rod as well. I slipped that fish back, made Rylan his tea, tied a few rigs up, and then it just come out of nowhere. Absolutely out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting it, because when I last checked the weather app, everything was looking hunky-dory. But I'm not complaining, it's needed if you ask me. It was flat calm when I got here. I spoke to my mate Carl, he was on here yesterday and he said it was flat calm all day. It's just gone the bank holiday weekend, we're on Tuesday now. And over the weekend it's only done 2 fish. So this is very much needed. Hopefully this will kick things off into action. If anything, it's definitely made them active. The rain's just starting now. Oh, this is mint, absolutely mint. I'll go through the rigs and baiting application tomorrow morning with you, or at some point tomorrow anyway. I'm not going to bring them in now, I'm going to leave them out there because it's looking bang on for it. I don't want to disturb the swim. But it's no different to what I have been doing. I'm not going to start changing things while I'm catching fish. I have done something different on one rod. I'm fishing boilie on one rod. That's just because I'm a believer in if you fish the same, you catch the same. I always like to do one thing different on one of the rods. Yeah, I do definitely think in here it's well worth putting one rod on something different. When I say something different, I mean like a blatant pop-up or, you know, a bottom bait, something out of the ordinary. Because them big fish, you know, they get used to seeing the same methods all the time. I mean, you've only got to look at Dave, for example. He generally comes out to an angler, you know, which has never fished here before. He's quite well known for that, let's put it that way. Comes out to a boilie or a zig or something like that. Whereas the regulars that are waiting just for Dave, there's quite a few people that haven't had Dave that's been on here for a few years. You know, they're fishing for bites really, they're fishing for all the fish, and I think Dave's an exception to the rest. I think you've got to actually fish for Dave if you want to catch him. So it's always worth, you know, doing something different with one rod. Anyway, I'm going to retreat to the bivvy because it looks like we're in for a bit of rain now. But I shall give you a little bit of an update later on. It's just gone 7 now, so I'll give you an update on dark, let you know how things are going. Well, we're on bivvy cam this evening. It's not actually that late, it's only about 8:30, but it's dark o'clock now. The storm didn't last very long, it only lasted about 40 minutes or so, and then it flattened right off again. And I was still getting a couple of liners. All's gone quiet now though, but I did redo the rods, that's why I didn't have a chance to do a lake view for tonight. But we're all sorted out, we're Rylan. I've literally just finished my tea, had some spicy wings. We're going to polish these off for supper. A packet of Golden Crunch creams, they'll be nice. Wash them down with a cup of tea. No doubt you'll be washing them down with hot chocolate, eh?
Probably, yeah.
Addicted to pot noodles, this lad. At least he's easy. At least he's easy to cater for when we come fishing. I tell you, all he wants to do is eat pot noodles, even at home. What do you want for tea, Rylan? Pot noodle. Pot noodle.
Pot noodle.
Yeah, you're addicted, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yes, you are. Tell you how different. The other one that comes with me, Corey, you can't feed him enough. He wants everything and eats everything. No matter what it is, whether it be hot and spicy, you name it, he eats it. So, Rylan, do you think we're going to catch a big one in the morning?
Yes.
Yes. How confident are you?
2%.
2%, that's not very 10%?
Yeah.
That's not much at all.
I know.
So we're 90% not going to catch, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
And 10% we are?
Yeah.
Well, you've heard it from the lad. What can I say? We'll try our very best. Let's hope that 10% does us justice. I shall see you in the morning. Well, this is not what I was expected to be woken up by, but I've just had an absolute steam train of a fight, and it's the biggest catfish I've ever landed. I haven't a clue what size it is because my weighing gear will not weigh this thing. I wiped the guy out next door, took all his rods out, but what can you do? I'm not even going to attempt to get out of the water. Hopefully this video will do it justice. Well, what about that thing for a beast? It's longer than me. Oh, it can go. It's gone back into the net. It is massive. Did you see it, Rylan? Well, good morning, and it's quite late morning at that. We've just gone 10 o'clock now. Needed a bit more beauty sleep this morning after that catfish. That absolutely went berserk. Absolute powerhouse of a fight that. I could not believe it. I'm quite surprised that I caught it. It's not like I'm putting in a lot of bait. I've mentioned many a times before, you know, I try and deter from them by only putting a small amount of bait in, but it seems that pop-up was enough for it to come and have a snaffle at. And anyway, I had that thing on for around about 45 minutes or so. It just seemed forever. I was stood in the water under that tree with a rod like this, and it just kept going, and then eventually it'd stop and you start pulling it back, and then it'd go again. Oh, I tell you, my back was in bits by the end of it. In fact, where I was stood, it's as it starts to get a bit deeper down the slope, and as it's pulling, I kept on, like, you know, during the fight I was tightening the clutch up a bit more and a bit more, so eventually I had quite a tight clutch, and I could feel my feet sliding down the banking. It was an experience, but one which I don't want to repeat all too often, let's put it that way. Anyway, back to the fishing this morning. It's been very, very quiet, but you know, with the weather change, it's a good thing in my opinion. That southwesterly is pushing in, the wind is pushing down this end of the lake now, and we are getting a bit of cloud cover. It's not as warm today, so it's looking promising for the afternoon. I think bite time has changed in here really. On my last session, there was both freak bites, the carp that I had on my last session. It was around at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That one yesterday was around about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Yet prior to that, I was getting bites in the morning. It all seemed to be sort of between like 6 and 9 o'clock in the morning was a good time. But that's definitely changed. But I've not received hardly any liners this morning. I've had a couple of single bleeps, which could have been anything. And you know when they're in here because you start getting a couple of liners, and they're not here at the moment. How about you, Rylan? You enjoying yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah? And what did you think to that catfish? Big. I had to wake him up. I couldn't get the camera to focus. I had the light shone in the lake ready and that, but I couldn't get it to focus because it needs a subject to focus on. So I had to wake him up, which I'm glad I did, because it was massive, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Well, fingers crossed we can make something happen this afternoon. I'm quietly confident, but you know, I always am, especially in this swim. It's been a very kind swim to me, this. I'm going to redo the rods about dinner time. You know, a handful of fresh bait. Not only that, it gives me a chance to sort out them wafters. When you're whittling them down and that, you know, they take on the water, and they're just not as attractive. So we'll put some fresh baits on and go from there. So I shall keep you posted. Hopefully the next time you see me will be with a Carpus interruptus. It's gone to the left under them trees. I don't know if it'll still be on. It's been on a while. Cheers. Well, as you've just seen, this one led me the right merry dance. Normally when I hook them in here, they all kite right out of the bay, but this one was a twitchy take and it kited left. And because it was twitchy, I wasn't sure if it was a take or not, so by the time I wound into it, it was already halfway across the bay and it managed to get under the trees. Luckily Trev come and helped me out. Angry male fish, 28 pound 8 ounces just gone. Whoa, one of the mallard fish, the future of swan. Lovely fish. The trim down LM94 is what he come on, and I'd not long re-put the rod back out, so that fresh bit of bait out there did the world of good. And he's equally as nice on this side. There you go, look. What a cracker. Well, a couple of pictures and slip him straight back. I've got no rods in now, so I need to get sorted because it's bite time, it's afternoon time. So I've been using two different rigs on this session. Basically it's no different to what I've been doing before. The only difference this session is I'm trying to pop up as well. Last time I tried bottom baits, it didn't really prevail to anything. That everything was coming to the whittled down wafters. But the catfish that I had early hours this morning, that come to the pop-up rig, which I'm not surprised about. I did kind of have that in the back of my mind, it might happen, but you've got to try different things. I'm a great believer in if you only put the same out, you catch the same. But my pop-up rig is no different to before, really. I like using the Nash Combi Link or the new Skin Link, what they've got now. I've got some of this left to use up, that's why I'm using it. I've got a tungsten anti-tangle sleeve, and then about on the strip back section I strip back about an inch or so, just so it creates that nice supple bit, and I put a BB shot there and then I mould some putty around it so it's overweighted. When I'm fishing pop-ups on this rig, you know, I like that bit there to sort of pull the hook point down before it even comes into contact with the lead. I just believe, you know, it's a confidence thing for me. I believe that's done me more pickups than anything. I very rarely lose a fish on this rig, if I'm honest. So yeah, I've got a 15mm LM94 on there. Cord of size 6, that's a barbless, because it's a barbless only water here. And on that I've got about 8 inches. Generally, if it were like my wafter rig for example, that's 7 inches. Rule of thumb, I like to stick to around 7-8 inches depending what I'm fishing over. But on the pop-up rig I like to go that extra inch, so it's pretty much the same length that's on the deck when you take into account with the bit that's popped up. And then really the rig that keeps on giving for me all the time, and this is not going to knock your socks off, it could not be any more simpler. I've got no putty up and down the actual material at all. All I've got is a tungsten and anti-tangle sleeve, and I've also got a tungsten kicker on there. It's quite a long kicker that, and again that's down to the size 6 cord of wide gaping barbless. With this being a wafter, the only thing different that I do to the other one, you'll notice there's a really long hair on that, and I whittle it down to around about 11mm. That seems to be like the going size what I've had most of my bites on. I've tried whittling down a little bit, you know, so you've got about 14mm, but that's the one that keeps going. I know I get a few nuisance fish in between. I can't help the tench picking them up, but you know, they're bonus fish, so everything's welcome to the party. As long as we're getting bites, that's all that matters. And you'll have heard me say this many times before, that I'm only fishing for a bite, I'm not filling it in. This lake in particular sees a hell of a lot of bait. It goes at, you know, the amount of people that come here, especially after bank holiday weekend, there's a lot of bait going in that's just not being eaten, in my opinion. It probably does get eaten by the cats and whatever else and all the other bits and bats, but for me, I feel more confident fishing over a nice pungent small amount of bait. And believe it or not, I'm still on the same bucket of bait which I made a couple of months ago in the spring before I started coming here. I'm still on that same bucket. It just keeps going in the freezer and back out the freezer. The only difference being is I keep adding more food syrup to the mix, so it's becoming more and more potent. The reason I like adding a lot of food syrup into the mix is because I'm always fishing over sediment. There's not many clean areas out there, so to speak, especially in this bay with it all being tree lined. So I want something that's going to stand out and send off plenty of food signals and not just get lost in that silt and sediment that's out there. And on this bucket lid here, that is literally the amount of bait that goes in the hopper. That is it. That is a medium scoop, which equates to two small handfuls or one good handful. And in there, all it is, it's mostly pigeon conditioner. There's a few bits of broken boilies, so you know it's matching what I'm putting out there. I prefer to match the hatch rather than go blatant. And that is it really, just corn as well. And that is it. It could not be any simpler. Just make sure you keep topping it up with this stuff. You caught much, Rylan?
Yeah.
Oh, what you got? Oh, it's a monster, that is. Is that how you cast? Two different flavours. Can't beat a cup of Yorkshire. Well, good evening. Nothing else has materialised this afternoon. I did have a liner on the right hand rod. When I say a liner, a fish had swam into the line and the bobbin had pulled up, which was enough to make me pick the rod up, and there was nothing on the end of it. But other than that, not much to report at all. The bay has been really quiet. We've not seen anything drifting about in the bay today. I don't think the commotion of going out in the boat will have helped the situation, but I did expect a few fish to drift back in, but that is slowly drifting away. They always seem to disappear out of this bay at come night time, apart from like you may get the odd tench or a catfish in the night. I hope we don't get another catfish. I don't really want one of them. It was an experience, but that's all I want it to be. I want another one of them big fat commons, that'd be lovely. But we'll persevere. We're going to have some tea in a minute. It's coming on 20 to 7, so we're still fairly early on. But it's not looking like it's going to do a bite this afternoon. So we're going to get some tea on, probably get our heads down quite early, and then get up early for the last morning. We've still got a bit of time tomorrow though. We're going to sit out until tomorrow afternoon and see if another bite materialises. I've not long refreshed the rods, so I've got nothing to do now, just sit on my hands. The lake is fishing rather poor, to be honest. Like I said before, we've just gone bank holiday weekend and only 2 fish come out over the weekend. And since I've been here, I'm the only person to have caught, which is surprising, very surprising, because the fish are showing on the opposite side of the lake at the minute. They are on that southwesterly. But the guy over there is fishing all 3 rods on zigs, which is a different method to me. But you know, a couple of days ago Dave come out again and he come out on a zig, so there's always a chance on a zig. I think it's just a confidence thing for me. I'd rather be sitting on a little bit of bait. Well, fingers crossed, you never know. The weather's cock on for it. It's overcast still. The wind's not very strong, but it is still a southwesterly. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there, and I shall check in with you in the morning, hopefully with a Carpus interruptus. Well, first light bang this morning, and it's one of the special ones. I'm absolutely pleased as punch. It's a fish known as the Upfront Common, real character fish and one of the old originals. One which I really wanted to catch. Again, it's fell to that trimmed down wafter. It just keeps on giving for me that. And I was so pleased it wasn't a catfish getting a bite at that sort of time. It was just before light. Oh. He's a real long fish and hard to hold. You'll see why it's called the Upfront Common. Check him out. What an absolute beast. This is a new PB common for me, and to make things even more special, my son Ryland's here to join me. This is definitely a trophy shot for the front room, isn't it? Stuff what Mummy says, we're having one on the mantelpiece, aren't we? Yes! I just quickly spin him round. He's even harder to hold this way around. Check him out. What a creature. Buzzing, absolutely buzzing. Made up. Let's slip this beauty back. just look at this for a beautiful morning. This is what really does it for me. The air temperature is a lot colder than the water at the moment. When you put your hands in the water, it's very noticeably much warmer. But it makes for some beautiful viewing in the morning. It's absolutely epic. And even more epic catching that fish this morning. Fishing memories, that's all I can say. Since that fish though, things have been fairly quiet. But it has been quiet since yesterday afternoon really. I've not really received many liners. I had a little knock before I had that fish this morning, so I knew something had moved into the area. And as it stands at the moment, the bobbins are remaining motionless. But we've still got a bit of time left yet. I'm gonna go till about tea time today, because I've had a couple of bites in the afternoon. We're gonna sit out till tea time. We can, so we're gonna. So fingers crossed for another bite. But if not, regardless, it's been an absolute epic session. It's gonna take some beating. 2 PBs in one session. Although one of them, yes, I'm not much fussed about a catfish, I must admit. But that common, that's just made it for me. Can it get any better? We can only hope so. Or should I say we can only see. I might have a little siesta in a bit because I've not had much sleep again. I've checked the weather app and we've got the air pressure's not too bad. It's around about 1,010, which is, you know, pretty good conditions for a bite. It's going to remain overcast until that sun breaks through. All in all, it is what I consider big fish weather for this time of year, the back end of the summer. Yes, autumn will soon be upon us, and then, you know, it's changing tactics then. I've got plans to be fishing out in the pond then, spot fishing, but we'll see. We'll just adjust and adapt to wherever the fish go and what the fish do. But for the moment, you know, this swim keeps on producing fish for me. God, it really does look moody on the camera as I'm looking at it. There's not much of a view in this swim as well because it's blocked by that tree. But when you stand in the swim next door and you look across, you can barely see across the whole lake. Well, I'm going to leave it there and I shall speak to you very soon. Well, that is it, unfortunately. The session is just about coming to an end. I've got about 30 minutes left. All the hard work's been done and most of the kit is packed away. Just them 3 rods to reel in, but I am going to hang it out for the last 30 minutes. So what another absolute epic session it's been for me here on Swan. I can't believe it. I really cannot complain of what Swan's had to offer up for me. There's still a few more sessions in it yet though, so I'm not done on Swan just yet. But like I say, every trip down has just been, how can I put it? I cannot put a foot wrong at the moment. There'll be the links in the descriptions below for the other videos if you want to watch them and you haven't already. And also one last thing before we get off, the castaway-pva code is still running if you want to use that, so there'll be a link in the description with a voucher code. if you head over to the Castaway-pva website, fill your basket with whatever you want, and then before you check out, put the discount code in, and that'll give you 25% off anything you want. That'll be the last time that's on offer though, unfortunately. So yes, there's not much left to say apart from goodbye from me and goodbye from Rylan. He's a bit shy, he'll get there. A mini Castellan in the making yet, we'll see. So yeah, if you aren't already, please subscribe and I'll see you on the next one.